In this episode, I'm with my great friend Jake Paine, who has a company that is disrupting the big medicine industry. It is incredible. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chris Tubbs Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest. It's one of my great friends that I've known for years. His name is Jake Paine. He has a company called Rad Energy that helps block the disruptive EMF energies that is coming from pretty much anywhere, and it's incredible. Jake, how you doing, my man?
I'm ready to go, locked in, my brother. Thank you so much for having me, man. This is great.
Of course, man, of course. Dude, how long have we known each other?
2015?
I think that sounds right. Yeah. So almost 10
Or
years.
maybe 2016. No, it was 2016. It was 2016.
Okay. Okay. So for about 8 years, maybe seven and a half, around that time.
Yeah. So this solid 7-8 years.
So I don't know if I ever told you this, but before we met, I was praying that I would have, another great guy, best friend to come into my life and just, whatever, just connect with, because I would, at that time in my life, there was guys I was connecting with, but they were either super far away or we just wouldn't talk all the time. But then obviously we got connected and we met, and man, it seemed like from the very beginning we connected, we hit it off, and that's what I love.
Bro, absolutely. Absolutely. I was even wanting you to be one of my groomsmen. Yeah. Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that. The people don't even know what happened there.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Anyway. But no, here we are today. We're still homies, man. We got our own brands, our own companies, other awesome things that we're going about and doing. And dude, and you're kicking butt with your company. Tell us about Rad Energy. How did you get started into it?
Yeah, man. So this is actually a really cool story, something that I'm super excited about. I'll give you a little bit of pre-frame and then we'll go into it. And I don't know if I've ever told you the full story about how everything happened. So it was the year, let me set the story. The year is 2019, I think, 2019, 2018. And what's really cool is as I was working at a job, I was working as a project manager at a Fortune 100 company, big company, and they had like super high tech stuff, and we were in there. And I was on this wireless headset all day long. I'm talking for hours because we were working with people all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And I would come home and I would feel exhausted, man. I would be like so tired, could barely focus. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, I just finished playing college football at the D1 level. I was, consider myself one of the healthiest people I knew. And I was just getting headaches and never had headaches. I started having headaches where the phone was, which really sketched me out. And I was like, what is going on here, man? This is something. This is something. I tried a vegan diet. I tried a whole bunch of stuff. Big mistake. And
yeah.
May work for some people. I don't know. But for me, it just wasn't it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I remember I got my degree in physics and I studied radiation. And I remember I was just looking at the headset and I was thinking about my headache and I'm like, I think they may be correlated. And me and a buddy, we used to walk around and like we'd play a game. How far can we go without a breaking signal? And we would go, it'd be like 60 yards and then around the corner and then only then it would break. And I'm like, dude, this is a lot of energy coming off this headset. Like, this is a lot. And so I started doing some research and I'm like, man, what is going on here? And at the same time, there's a parallel track, and I don't tell everybody this. The parallel thing that was happening was this girl who went to this small group of mine. We had prayed for her, and she got delivered of some things. She got healed, and it was like a really cool thing. And one day at church, she comes up to me and she was like, "Jake, I need your help." And she was a little bit older than me. She was like 50-some. And she was in mad distress. And, it was a load in, load out church. So we were loading the stuff into the truck. And she just sprints off. And I was like, oh, man. So I'd kind of jogged running after Karen. And she was like, get in the car. And she's like in tears. And I was like, all right. So I hop in the car. I hop in the front seat. And her friend is in the passenger seat. They got the door open. And I could hear, listen to this. This is where it gets weird. I could hear people on the other side of the phone, because we're talking on the phone through the car, like Bluetooth, right?
Okay.
And I heard like wailing, crying, screaming, and I was like, I looked over at Karen. I said, "What is going on?" Like it sounded like somebody was dying or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Something's going on here." And then she's like, oh, and points to her friend. She's like, "It's my sister who's demon possessed with with her fiance's on the line, and we were scared and we didn't know what to do, so we called you." And I was like, "All right."
Okay.
Because like
keep going.
This stuff was new to her. Yeah. This is a true story, by the way.
Wow.
And so I'm like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. I was like, repeat after me, in the name of Jesus. And I just start taking them through it, right?
Yeah.
But the demon starts speaking back. It wasn't coming out. And I was like, all right, man, that's the only thing I got. If name of Jesus ain't working, that's all I got, man.
Wow.
And that was wild, bro. Like, it was coming back, bro. Like, it was speaking back. And I was like, it only amped me up even more. I'm like, so after, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of doing that, I was like, man, this ain't working.
Right.
And talked to the pastor. Come to find out that this chick was into this stuff. Like, this happened multiple.
Was she like into witchcraft and stuff like that?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. Like, she'd lock herself in some closet, trip out, speak some light language. This had happened multiple times for years. And I come to find out that she was into like crystals. And I was like, what's up with that? Like, I've heard people are into crystals, not just these experiences, but in general. I just had heard people are into crystals, and that was very new to me. I know, like, in Colorado and stuff, it's a little different, but for me and where I come from, like, I just never heard about that.
A lot of people do weed here. That's the difference.
That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I did that, and I was like, what is up with this? And I come to find out crystals, like, even with my background in physics, there's this, there's this law. It's called the piezoelectric effect. And it's where crystals hold energy and information. And that's not weird. That's not something. That's just science. And I was like, there's something to this, man. So I found out that some crystals actually protect you from electromagnetic fields. And then electromagnetic fields, like, actually can harm you. And I was like, and this is connected to my phone and my headaches and everything. So I started applying some of the things that I was learning. And I remember the first time ever I shut my Wi-Fi off at night, and I had the most vivid dreams I ever had in my life.
No way. Like, after that night, you had just the craziest dreams.
Not that night of like the demon thing, but I'm saying, like,
after you turn your Wi-Fi off.
Yeah, I know you live in the mountains and stuff, so try it. Yeah. But like, you're in a good area, but like, you have a little bit different set of issues because you're higher in the elevation and you may have more cosmic radiation. But like, regardless, we're like, you think about, open up your phone. There's 20 different Wi-Fi's, right? There's so much electromagnetic, interference. And so, like, when you go to sleep at night, that's the one time your body gets to rest and reset. And so I was like, all right, I shut it off, and bro, I got the craziest dreams, and started applying these things. And I was like, all right, one thing led to another. I'm like, I need to do something about this. And there's like multiple levels to it, like how the government's involved, big tech, censorship and our
Yeah.
rights. And I was like, and it affects kids more. I'm like, all right, so it affects my rights. It's affecting kids more.
Mhm.
This is a censored news topic. Um, I have to do something about it. It was hitting all my big things. And so I
Mm.
was like, man, we got to do something. So started selling products online to help people, spreading the information, and just one thing leads to another.
Wow. So let's get this straight. So because of the woman that was demon possessed and was babbling and dabbling and whatever, doing stuff with crystals, you started to research, and because of that, that's how you essentially started the company, because of that research.
Yeah, like what the devil meant for harm, God meant for good. Like turned around and made a business out of it. How cool is
Wow.
that?
That is really cool. That is really cool. Because
That's real
it's
cool.
that's such a God thing, because only he can take something that is like weird, kind of super like iffy, whatever, bad, whatever, and turn it into good.
Bro,
Turn it
absolutely.
into a company.
Yeah, literally. That helps people and employs people. And it's like, it's just cool, man. When I really think about it, I'm like, and
Mm,
that's what's kind of helped me move forward is throughout all the challenges, I'm like, it could only be God.
yeah.
Like it could only be God that got me this far.
Wow, dude. That pumps me up. That's awesome. Come on.
Right? Come on, right?
So what is the, I mean, for the people that don't know, like what is the ingredient or the crystal or the mineral, what is it that you use in your products to help block the radiation?
Yeah, sure, sure. So I'm gonna back up and just explain a little bit more
Yeah.
about EMFs, so that way
Okay.
we're all talking the same language.
Okay.
So our cell phones have to have a signal to work, right?
Right.
Your AirPods, your Wi-Fi, like there has to be some type of connection. If that connection is broken, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The way that that connection happens is through wireless radiation, or what people call EMFs, electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
And so we've been told everything is safe. There's nothing to worry about. And what's interesting is these safety and health regulations are regulated by the FCC, not the FDA or a health organization. It's by the Federal Communications Commission, which
Right.
has nothing to do with health.
No.
But that safety regulation is regulated by that. And so that's a whole, we definitely need to get to that.
Mm.
But, we've been told this is safe. And unfortunately, it's just not. And, over time, when everybody first got a cell phone, in the late 90s, when the cell phones started rolling out and everything, it wasn't that big of a deal, right? Like
Right.
Google wasn't even a company.
Right.
It was 1G. But now we're
You
on
had the brick
2.
phones that really wouldn't do much.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you think about it from a bigger perspective, like there wasn't even Wi-Fi. Like there was no satellites in space
Right.
beaming down the internet like Starlink, where Elon Musk is putting up a 500,000, 1,000,000 satellites to beam internet down to the Earth.
Right.
That's not natural. God didn't make that. It's just like
True.
our radiation exposure level is like I
It's
forget the
gone
number.
up. It's exponentially more than what it was even 20 years ago.
Bro, I think I saw a stat. You can quote me on you can check this, do your own
Okay.
research, everybody's
Okay.
listening. I think from 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, which there was already stuff, our radiation exposure has gone up like a quintillion. And that's like 18 zeros behind it.
My God.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is so, it's not like, oh, yeah, if you eat like, sugar, you're eating like, ice cream is like 4 times the amount of sugar your body eats. It's like, no. Like, the radiation that your body is absorbing compared to when Moses was walking around or Abe Lincoln was walking around, 7,000 years of human history, we are now not just exponent, we are way higher than, things were ever intended to be.
Wow. Wow.
Think about it.
No, that gives me a different perspective on that. Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
It's just not natural, right? Like,
No. So my thought is like, can't we make devices that we can still use like to communicate that don't emit radiation, or does it have to emit radiation?
I mean, sir, anything that has a wireless that operates wirelessly, there has to be some type of communication. But there's a whole host of things that you can do to mitigate that risk. So,
right.
You know, like even this whole 5G rollout, you know, when 5G came out, a lot of people were labeled conspiracy theorists because David Icke made a video and everybody's like, COVID comes from 5G. And, you know, a lot of people became aware of that. And if you remember, that's when Facebook and Google said, if you talk or spread false information, we will take it down. And so they took down all negative news about 5G while everybody was locked away in their homes and couldn't do anything about the 5G rollout.
You know what's so funny about that, though? I remember before 5G came out, there were a ton of tech YouTubers that were making videos on 5G saying, it's not bad, it's not bad, it's not bad, it's good for us, it's good for us. That is crazy, that timing. That when you bring that up, now I'm thinking back, I'm like, wow, they were pushing that stuff out way before it started to come out for a reason.
Oh yeah. To program people, to prep them, and also like you got to think everybody, all the big players are in on this, right?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Who's benefiting off of this? The government's benefiting off of it because it's the ultimate surveillance. It's we're now collecting data on everything. And actually the same 5G technology Israel invented, and that same technology is used as a military weapon. It's called the active denial system. You can look this up. And
share it, baby. Yeah, come on.
Isn't this deep, bro? That like when you start going down the rabbit hole, it's like I could keep going and going and going. Like,
please, this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. So like when you like the active denial system is like it's like a big board, right? And it's on top of a truck. And it's blasting 5G waves. Now it's incredibly high intensity, more than what we've got now, but it can be directed and it blasts a crowd. So that way the crowd, you're not shooting them. It's not a lethal weapon, but they would blast it on a crowd and they get like burning skin sensation on their skin. So everybody's like, you know, they have, you know, if you want to pull up a YouTube video, you can do it right now, but it's like, really interesting because they'll show like a crowd protesting and then they'll blast them. And then all of a sudden they're like start running and dispersing. So it's like a crowd controlled, you know, military grade weapon. Same exact frequency and waves that are used on your cell phone.
Holy shit. Oh my God. So I've heard, and I've done my research on direct energy weapons. You know, they use them easily obviously for weapons. They use them for weather. They use them for pretty much anything. But you're saying the same type of frequencies or the waves that they use in those weapons are in our phones right now.
Yeah. And the reason why it's not cooking, well, it is cooking us in a way, but the reason why it affects them more is because, like, you know, it's like your microwave. Like the microwave is actually in the same, you know, frequency band. Like microwaves are, I forget the exact spectrum, but it's like, you know, I think microwaves is like 800 hertz or megahertz to like 2.4 gigahertz. So that's a spectrum within the EMF spectrum. But the reason when you use your microwave, it actually cooks your food because it has much higher intensity. You know, it's like saying water. Water, you know, the same water that I'm drinking now is the same water that, you know, destroyed my condo and a whole bunch of homes during the hurricane. It's like, well, yeah, it is the same water, but, you know, one is an extreme amount of force behind it and volume, where this is, you know, in a container. So it is the same technology. It's just at different levels. Wow.
That's incredible. Checking my microwave to see if it was off. Yep, it's off. Okay, we're good. It's unplugged. But oh my gosh, dang.
But it's something to be aware of because, you know, what scientists will say, you know, and I get trolled all the time. People, you know, think they know what they're talking about, is like, oh yeah, there's radiation going through our bodies all the time. And there absolutely is.
Sure.
Right? Like,
sure.
There absolutely is. Like our bodies can take a certain amount of stress, but, People are like, oh, it's not a problem until it's like a gamma wave where it splits your DNA and you can like die immediately. Like astronauts got to pay real attention because they're out there in space
Mm.
and there's way more. But the problem is people think that, oh, then my cell phone is 100% safe. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
well, this is an added layer on top of all the BS we're dealing with, right?
Mm.
Our water is plugged with, got a whole bunch of stuff in it. Your foods are GMO, we're taught all this crap, you're stressed out, and then we're going to radiate the crap out of you, and it's not just your cell phone, it's the car you drive, it's the house you live in, the apartment complex. There's 50, 100 Wi-Fis all, coming from different directions, You're
Yeah.
not in sunlight, you're not grounding yourself, like you're eating like crap. Like all these things just compound, and it's just another thing that's unnatural that affects us.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, because you think about it, even you driving down the road on the highway, there's cars now that are looking for Wi-Fi signals or grabbing the the LTE or whatever the 5G from the phone towers. Like they have that capacity now to do that. That's crazy. So like anywhere you go, you're getting hit with radiation.
Dude, yeah, you think about it, like there's very few places left on Earth that you can go and you don't have a cell phone signal.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Think about that. Like there's very few places that you can go and there's absolutely zero signal and there's zero man-made radiation.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few places here in the mountains for sure, but I mean, there you can get the Starlink now, where you can just get internet. Boom, right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's the problem, like, yeah, there are dead zones, right? Like there's a dead zone leaving my house, there's,
sure.
but as far as like a, macro perspective, they're like, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And, it's
Mm.
just like, wow, this is something that we're going to, have to deal with. Like, this isn't going away. You can't escape it. And it's like, how are you going to deal with it? We just need to understand how it works, protect yourself, and, educate others. And, there are certain governments and agencies that are making differences and changes. It's like
Mm.
in Israel, you're not allowed to even have Wi-Fi in elementary schools.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm. And there's
Wow.
a lot of other countries that do that too. Like, I think if you buy a cell phone in India, they have a label sticker. You know how we have stickers on everything. Warning, this is carcinogenic and may cause cancer. They have
Mhm.
that on their cell phones. Like warning this. I think theirs has to do with sperm and fertility. They carrying a cell phone may reduce affect men's fertility, and it lowers your testosterone. Another
Yeah.
thing.
Oh man, gosh, we can get into that a little bit later. But it is absolutely crazy just to think how much radiation is. I think I saw one of your videos where you were talking about those space heaters. They emit radiation, and I didn't even think about that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That too? Gosh dang it. I don't want to be cold, But
Yeah, and you could
uh,
use one. Like I got one over there, but it's like I got some space.
so
When
you're
you
saying,
give yourself space.
okay. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I was gonna say like there's this thing called the inverse square law. So it's like anytime you double your distance, the strength of that significantly decreases. So if you want to use a space heater, that's cool.
Mm.
Just like give yourself like some distance. Like when I teach in my videos, I'm like, hey, I think they did a study where 75% of kids under the age of 18 sleep with their phone underneath their pillow.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, dude, just like put it on airplane mode or shut it off and put it, a couple feet away.
Right, right.
Like,
It's funny though, because I think it was about a year ago, I started to sleep with the grounding plug and then I would shut my phone off or put it on airplane mode. I sleep better. I get deeper sleep. I wake up more refreshed. It's absolutely amazing the energy that I have in the morning. I'm like, wow, okay. And I feel like when I go to work out or something like that, I have strength. I have the stamina. It's incredible. So it's not just like something that's just woohoo scams conspiracy theorist type of stuff. No, this is real life stuff that we need to deal with. So my question is, how do we deal with this? What have you found? Obviously, you found the product, you have the products that deal with this kind of stuff. What is the best way to deal with it?
Yeah, I would say so. I always recommend like, subscribe to all my content because the number one thing is my products are great, but you just need to understand kind of fundamentally how some things work. And actually, I have a free little ebook. If you go to my Instagram or my website, you can just
Okay.
download it.
What is
But it's
that?
a free little book. Especially to help kids.
What is
What's that?
your website?
RADENERGY.io. So RAD and then energy, ENERDY.io.
Okay, cool. So they can
Yeah,
get an
so
ebook there.
yeah, and you just get information. And the other thing is, if you start to look at levels of kind of like 3 different levels, right? Number one is like your body. Like,
Hmm.
what do I have on my body that's affecting me? And your cell phone is not by far number one, right? Because you're always on it. It's always with you.
Right.
So that's why I invented the Shungite phone case. So I have a couple different phone cases, designs and styles. I'm coming out with a new one that's EMF blocking, so you can, hold it and you put it in your pocket. It's not radiating your body. But my main one is a Shungite phone case. So Shungite is very, very cool. And a lot of my products involve Shungite, and they also involve silver fiber. So the difference is silver fiber is like what I have in my hat here. You can see on the inside.
Yep.
This is
Yep.
99% radiation blocking, so it's protecting my brain from everything that's going on around me. And
Okay.
then also, I use Shungite, and Shungite is crazy cool. So Shungite it's a rock, it's a crystal.
Hmm.
It's only found in one mine in the whole world. It's only found, dude, this is so cool. It's only found in one place in the whole world.
Hmm.
And this rock is the only rock, it's the only material, not even rock, it's the only material on planet Earth that contains this molecule.
Hmm.
And it's a very large molecule. It's carbon, it's C60. It's a huge compound. And so this fullerene in 1996, they didn't even think this fullerene existed on Earth. In 96, the guys who discovered the fullerene, they
Hmm.
won the Nobel Prize in chemistry.
Hmm. Hmm.
And a fullerene is like the most powerful antioxidant. So the Russians have been using shungite, this rock. It purifies water. So actually an old Russian Tsar used to command all his soldiers to carry around a little piece of shungite so that way wherever they went, they could put it in their water and help purify their water.
Seriously?
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That's freaking dope. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it won't like, if you put a whole bunch of muddy water in there, it's not going to get rid of all the mud, but like, this is actually like a real trendy thing. Like if you see like, certain spas and resorts, they'll put crystals and stuff in their water because it structures the water differently.
Wow. Huh.
Like
Okay.
if you microwave water, you're like destroying the water, right?
Right.
Uh, but if you put it, shungite in it, it helps like structure the water a little bit different.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool. So it comes
That
from
is,
Russia, only in Russia.
yeah, only in Karelia, Russia, this one little place. And there's scientific studies that shows it protects you from wireless radiation. So they did this study where they took rats and blasted them with 2G radiation, old technology, stuff that we're, exposed to all the time. And they topically applied shungite to these rats.
Hmm.
So the ones that were covered in shungite were completely fine. The ones that were not covered in shungite developed tumors and cancer.
Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
It is
And
crazy.
actually, there was another study that quick rabbit trail, when cell phones were really started to gain popularity, the government was like, all right, we need to regulate, this and get a little bit more information. We needed to conclusively prove that they are, safe.
Yeah.
So they launched the National Toxicology Program, did a 10-year, $30 million study on
Hmm.
cell phones to tell if they were safe or not.
Yeah.
And guess what happened to almost all the results? You can go on their website. It's published on their website.
Yeah.
Almost all the results came back cancer causing, like tumors. And their conclusion was, we cannot conclusively say this, causes cancer and tumors. However, like we more research is needed. And it's like, wait, didn't you just do the giant study and the data showed that it was harmful, but we're just going to give it a pass? Like, I thought the whole point of this was to figure out that.
That reminds me almost like what they did to Tesla, Nikola Tesla, when he created the free energy, and then they just took him out. This seems like it's a very similar pattern, right? Like they see this findings that are showing that, hey, these things cause cancer, it cause harm to your body, and what do? They just let it blow by. Like it doesn't matter. They're just going to continue to let it roll out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. And like, you got to think kind of what I was saying, like the government gets ultimate control because they get all the censorship. And then like, these data aggregators like Facebook and Google, they get all this data.
Yeah.
The infrastructure wins because they're getting all this, streaming and usage. So for them, it's like, control data money. And like you even see a revolving door of, a lot of the top executives and legal counsel then become heads of the FCC. And it's just this like, we don't want to say anything because the whole economy runs off this technology now. Like if you conclusively could come out and said like, hey, I'm shutting down all cell phones, I'm shutting down all wireless radiation, the whole world would come to a halt. And all like Facebook wouldn't be able to make money anymore. Like, I mean, just think about that. Like everything runs, the whole planet runs off this. If I could say this is harmful, don't use it, it causes cancer, and everybody just threw away their cell phones, which they would never do. But if they did do that, dude, like we would go back in time. Like we would 100% go back in time.
Wow. Holy smokes. Huh. That's crazy. But you're right. Everything runs off of this. That's how, that's why there's so many people that are scared of cyber attacks. Because if something happens to our internet, for example, economies will be shut down. People will lose tons of money. Even if it were for like an hour or two, people would lose billions, trillions of dollars.
Wow. Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it's like.
So do you think?
Shutdown.
Wow. So do you think this is the biggest? I don't know what to say. I guess you could say dictatorship type of industry in the entire world.
I mean, I don't know about that. I would say this is definitely, this is like the new smoking, right? So
okay, I see. Yep. Okay.
I don't know if this like crazy. I mean, there is corruption going on, but
what I guess what I'm saying though, bro, is this is so big. Like this industry is so big that every like we said, everything runs on it. So if this thing gets shut down, they lose all control. They lose all power. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that would be a good thing, but it's like, it's kind of like the Snowden thing, right? Like,
yeah,
there's exponential amounts of more data that's being collected on you that you're not even aware of. And that's the scary thing, right? Like, even with the 5G technology, they don't even need a cell phone connection to trace you. Like, they can trace you, and like, there's just so much more data, and your privacy is going out the window, and there's just so much more information that's being streamed, like oceans of it. Like, and a lot of it's not even here yet. So, and there's even things, this is kind of far out there, but there's even things where they can use the waves to like basically get 3D scans of buildings and people and track them because of how the waves are reverberated based off the walls and stuff. So it's like, it goes pretty deep.
That was in a movie. That was a movie. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember the movie. But there was like this AI program or something along those lines. This team was trying to shut it down or whatever. And the AI program was using the sound waves based off of whatever they were hearing through the cameras or Wi-Fi signals, and the AI program was able to track where the team was in the building, so it couldn't shut the AI program down. Did you ever see them? I can't remember the movie, but that sounds similar, very, very similar to what you're talking about.
Oh
That's
yeah,
crazy, man. What the heck?
dude, we're living in the Matrix. We're living in a movie.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I didn't expect this conversation to go here, but that's crazy, bro. Oh my gosh!
I know, right? Like, like
Oh,
that's the thing is like when you ask me, is this like the biggest thing? I mean, to me, it's just the biggest sleeping giant because people just
really?
aren't aware of it. And when they start to become aware of it, they're like, whoa, like this is way bigger than I ever even realized. So,
Because I'm pretty in tune. Like I've read your stuff and I watch your stuff and everything. Like we talk, but man, you're throwing some bombs here right now, bro. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just deep. Like, and you realize like, wow, like, I mean, it's like, we talk about, even with your stuff, right? Like if we look at what's going on in America, right? How kids are being attacked.
yeah,
The family unit is being attacked. The man is being attacked. Our health is under fire. Like there's corruption with health. Like this just adds to it, right? Like
it does.
kids absorb 2 to 3 times more radiation than adults do. Facts. It
Whoa.
lowers men's testosterone. And, we talk about like birth rates and sperm count and like how, men's testosterone and fertility and how we're actually, everybody's like, oh yeah, don't have kids. It's bad for the environment. And then we got Elon Musk and everybody else is saying like, hey, actually we need to have more kids. That's the biggest threat to society. Like, Bill Gates wants to kill everybody and we're saying this is what's going on. But the answer is we don't need to depopulate. We need to repopulate. Like we need to add more. And so like this reduces is a major concern on how like, the fertility rates are going down. Like it just attacks all the agendas and things we're talking about just from a completely different perspective.
It does. Because like you were saying earlier, our food is poisoned. They're making, I saw an article today where they were making 3D printed meat. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's fake as hell. That looks disgusting anyway.
Oh yeah.
But what? So, oh my God. Wow. This goes deep. Like you were saying, this goes extremely deep. So let's go back to the solution base. So you're saying this crystal, this mineral is one of the only few things that blocks it?
Yeah. 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 If you're going to protect yourself from radiation, there's really only so many things you can do. You can block it. You can distance yourself.
Okay.
And you can become healthier. Right. Shungai does like a combination of this, becoming healthier and like blocking it because it blocks a little bit, but it also just kind of harmonizes it in a way. I hate to say that because a lot of like the harmonizers online are like, oh, buy these stickers and it helps your phone. It's like, dude,
I've seen those. Yeah. Yeah.
That's whatever. But like Shungai is a different story. Like God made it. It's natural. It has scientific studies. So, and it just like has those special properties. Like you put a rock in the water and it helps structure it. Like what the heck? Like you put the rock on your phone and it helps it become less, less harmful. It's just like, that's amazing.
Wow.
God made that for this purpose before we even knew there was a problem.
Seriously. He was looking out for us. That is for sure. Are
Yeah.
you the only company that's doing this?
With Shungai, yes. Some people sell Shungai. I'm the only one who put it in a phone case. There's a few other companies that block radiation, but Rad Energy.
Yeah, it is pretty rad.
Yeah.
How are they blocking? Are they just using the silver fibers or something like that? Or
Yeah, they'll use silver fiber for pretty much the same use cases than a few different ones. So,
wow, dude, you hit on a gym here, literally.
it was God, remember? Like
It was. I know, but I mean, come on, man. You're the man that's doing it. That's the thing, bro. Like, come on. Yeah, God gives us the inspiration, but we gotta go do it.
we got to go do it, man. And that's been a big self-development journey and taking me places. And I'm like, all right, let's double down. Let's make it happen. So,
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm just blown away. To be completely honest, just the depth that information that you gave me just like I was already pretty healthy, but now it's like, okay, and now I want to go level up. I want to level up into
yeah.
this thing. Like I want to put because you have I saw on your website you have stickers and you have bracelets and necklaces and obviously your hats and then you have your what is it, the little fanny pack type things.
Yeah, and the fanny
Right.
pack is like my favorite. Like I use it every day when I go to the gym. It's like a crossbody, and you can put your phone keys, all kinds of stuff in there, and I know it's not going into my body. So, that's something that I just, love to wear and love to use. And it's like just these little things. It just adds to more awareness of like, oh, maybe you shouldn't sit right next to a Wi-Fi meter. It's like, okay, maybe we can just make small changes. Maybe opt out the wireless baby monitor. Maybe every time you hand a child a phone, you put it on airplane mode. Maybe, instead of, getting an electric vehicle, I can use a regular vehicle. It's like, there's just so
Right. Yeah. Screw EVs, man. That just gives me another reason to not like EVs at all.
yeah. Like if, if I get married, like when my wife has a kid, like I don't want her driving an EV. Like there's just so much magnetic fields running through that car. It's just like producing so much. Like, I just, there's always another agenda, right? Like they want to push the EVs because it's a part of their green agenda. But EVs, it comes with a lot of risk. Like, yes, there's a lot of, EMF that comes off these things, but they can also completely control you. They're collecting all the data, they own all that data. And it's like, there's just so much more. Like they always say one thing and then there's all these other reasons why.
That's what gets me about Elon Musk, right? He says things like, we need to have more kids, but then he's creating vehicles that will lower your testosterone and harm you. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, are you just, 1 foot on the other side of each spectrum here, or what is going on? Like, I don't
Yeah.
get that. I don't get that. But oh, man,
Elon's interesting. Like I love Elon, but like he did a Joe Rogan podcast, and I actually was going to release some content about this. He was like, oh yeah, like I'm not concerned at all. Like I think he even said like he would strap a phone to his head if he felt,
I saw
like,
that.
yeah. But it's like he's just not a biologist. Like he's just not a scientist. Like he just doesn't have the data about it. Like everybody says one thing, but then it's like he's also incentivized to say that, right? Like if he came out and said, "Oh no, EMFs are harmful," literally everything about his entire brand is about EMFs, right? Starlink, 100% EMF related. Like the Neuralink, 100% EMF related, communicating back from your brain to a computer. Tesla, it is electric vehicles. Everything about him is like this electric force. So he almost has to believe it. So, that's why I say what's going on with cell phones and EMFs is like the new smoking, because you're, 50, 60 years ago when smoking was coming out, or when all this stuff was going on, the government was pushing it. Doctors were pushing it. Oh, even my doctor smokes 2 packs a day, like make sure you get your cigarettes in, everybody was saying it was totally fine. And then guess what happened? Some lawsuits come out, some data comes out, and all of a sudden the government turns on these, big cigarette companies and tobacco companies. And now all of a sudden you can still smoke, but it's highly regulated. Everybody knows it's bad for you. Like, they completely 180 on it, right? Like, eventually this is going to start to turn around and people are going to become aware of this. And eventually it will take time, but it will reach critical mass, right? And all those lawsuits that happened to tobacco are going to look like small potatoes because this is global, like at least with cigarettes, you had control over it, right? There's secondhand smoke, but you can pick up a cigarette or not. You can walk away from the secondhand smoke. This, you can't. So this is going to be major lawsuits and major issues and major regulation eventually, right? Because, we're not going to fully ever get rid of technology, but
Right.
there's a lot of things that you could do to mitigate this, making people aware, admitting the risks, admitting what's going on. Maybe they design the antennas on phones to only go outward rather than radiating, all over the place. So it's going into your brain. Like maybe we know not to put a cell phone in your pocket without putting it on airplane mode. Maybe, kids, we don't have Wi-Fi in elementary schools, like Israel. So, just stuff like that. Maybe we don't have 5G, but we have fiber optics, which actually provides higher speeds than 5G. And 5G operates off fiber optics anyway. So it's like,
Right.
There's just a lot of options.
Yeah, and I just think there's only so much the government can do, right? And the rest of it is up to the people to become aware and then act upon it. It's almost like racism, kind of almost, where it's like, MLK was doing his thing back way then, but what can the government really do? You can't take away someone's amendment, or you can't take someone's right away to say whatever they want to say, right? They can only do so much. And I think that's kind of very similar to this. Is like they can only do so much. Like maybe they regulate, say, hey, you have to put Shung Night in your phone, right? Like you have to put that in there, and that'll help. But like there's other things too that have radiation, like we were just talking about. So I don't know. I think it's something. I truly
I'll
believe
tell
in
you
that.
what they could do. It's
Okay.
not like, it's not like, it's just like, it's something that they can only do so much. Well, sure, but they could also quit being a part of the problem. So
I agree.
I'll give you two stories.
Okay.
Both are true stories. First story, this is actually how I got involved. So I went down to my local government and spoke at the city council meeting to go to discuss about 5G, because in the state of Florida, they came out with this this bill or this law where if a cell phone company, like local governments are getting cheated out of all this revenue. So the way that it worked 5 years ago was if a cell phone, or 10 years ago, whatever, if a cell phone tower, like let's say Verizon, let's say AT&T, one of these big carriers were like, hey, we want to put a cell phone tower in in the Dallas area. Okay, cool. Then the local government would then negotiate with that carrier about that tower.
Right.
They can negotiate a whole lot of things, right?
Yeah.
The approval process, the fees, the revenue they're going to generate, and the fee based off that. There's all these things that they could say, hey, we don't want that tower where you want to put it. You're going to put it over there because that's going to take away from the aesthetic of the house, of this, community. And that's where, we've got our best shopping center, and it's just, we don't want that there. So they could do a whole host of things. But with 5G, they came out with this thing where it was an automatic approval process and a mandatory, I think it was like $30 fee. So if Verizon said, or some carrier was like, we want to put it downtown at this corner,
Right.
the local government couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything. They were stripped of their local municipality power, and they couldn't do anything. They could not renegotiate it. They could not increase the fee. It would get automatically approved after 30 or 60 days. So it was just like, all right, all that revenue and all that power, gone. Oh, sorry, you don't want it to look like that. Your town's going to look like this now. So that's what I mean by the government. They were enabled this, right? Like the former, governor and the, administration at the state and local level, they could do something about it.
Maybe they got paid off.
Maybe. All right, last story I'll say real quick.
Okay.
Another story about the government that they could do is when Bill Clinton put into act the 1996 Telecommunications Act, I think it's called.
No.
In that Telecommunications Tower Act, it says that no tower shall be removed for health reasons if it's abiding by the health safety regulations. It makes a whole lot of sense, right? Like, but it doesn't. So if a tower, and this happened in California, this actually happened in California, and I talked to some of the parents about this too. there was a cell tower outside of an elementary school, and I think I know for sure 3, maybe 4 kids developed cancer.
What?
Yes, this is a true story. Kids got cancer from this new tower that came up, and it came from that tower. That tower was operating within the safety regulations. However, they still developed cancer. You took them out of the school, they started to recover. You put them in school, they got sick. It was directly related to that tower. They shut down that tower based off publicity and PR reasons, not because kids were getting sick and not because they were exceeding the health safety standards. Because the bar was set so low with the health and safety standards, you're still getting sick.
Right.
It'd be like, all right, new rule. You can only drink 50 Cokes a day. It's like, dude, you don't need to drink 50 Cokes a day to get sick and fat.
Right.
Like, dude, you need to reduce that to like 3, 10, you know? Like, I mean, yeah, I know some people drink a lot of Coke, but dude, 50, like, there ain't nobody drinking 50 Cokes a day. Like, we need to change those regulations and say, like, hey, if people are getting sick and we can tie it back to this tower's got to go, and increase the safety regulations and make people aware. So they absolutely, like, they 100% are at fault also.
I see what you're saying. I also think, though, it's up to us,
Absolutely.
we the people, to put the pressure onto the government, right? Because we know from the Declaration of Independence, it says that we are in control of the government. So it's really up to us. It's up to us to put the pressure on them in order to keep us safe. That's what they're supposed to do, right? They're supposed to protect us. Hello?
Absolutely.
Wow.
We the people. That's why I got you. We the people.
Come on, baby. But I get what you're saying, though. The government absolutely can and has the power to fix this. And
in you know, it's like, you know, I love what you said of we the people, because we need to rise up. We need to share what's going on. Like, if you hear this podcast and it speaks to you, like, man, share it with a friend. Like, this is so important that people need to start waking up. It's not going to take one thing. It's going to take multiple. And, you know, we're the ones who vote these people in. We're the ones who do these things. Like, we're the ones who use these companies and pay these companies that don't have our best interests in mind. Like, we're the ones who have, like, and, you know, not all the patriots and people listening to your podcast, but, like, you know, we as a people are also the ones who have done this. So I 100% agree.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll always come back to us, though. Always. Right. I mean, that's even the way that God set it up in the Bible. We are the ones that need to take responsibility for what is going on and make a change. That's what we do. That's how we live in freedom, is when we take responsibility. And you know that you're doing what you're doing with your business and everything. But I think it's absolutely crazy to hear all this stuff, because it just gives me more knowledge and more in-depth understanding of what is going on and how this is affecting you know, man. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. I love it.
Start. I know you got a lot. There's just a lot in there. Anything that I could address and help you with, or, you know, anything you wanted to go over with it?
I don't know. To me, I think you just put out so much information where I'm just like analyzing it and just kind of, you know, just taking it all in. And it's just kind of bringing up ideas of like how to continue to support you and support other people, or continue to encourage people to take action and understand what is going on, because that is, like we just said, that's how we win, is when it first starts with knowledge, right? When we get the knowledge, then we have to have a plan. When we have a plan, we need to act upon the knowledge that we have in order to win. So I think everything that you're doing with your company, and just essentially, I think you're more of an informational type company than maybe product, if that makes sense. Just because you're spreading awareness of what is going on, and then you have your products on top of it. Like, this is what's cool. This is what I see, is you have your company, you're bringing out the knowledge, but then you're also bringing in the solution, which is obviously what people need, 100%. Yeah. But you're giving solutions in all areas. You're giving people something that is possibly even more powerful than your products. Hello, got it right here.
Oh yeah.
It's the information. But the information can only do so much, and it's dependent on how much you act upon it, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, but you're so right. I mean, and you can really start to go crazy when you start going down the rabbit hole. You're like, oh my God, it's everywhere. Like, you can really start getting information overload and start being like, oh my God, this problem is so big. Like, I can't do anything about it, right? Like, I
Mm.
can't stop it. It's everywhere. What am I going to do? And, it can be stressful. And that's why it's like, okay, you also got to admire the fact that God made our bodies so powerful that even throughout all this toxicity and how like much energy is flowing through us and around us, we're still here and we're still like, able to function. It's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. Yeah, you're right, though. God foresaw what was going to happen, and he understood that, hey, if we need to continue to do what we're supposed to do, we're going to have to take care of our bodies. But how much have you seen, or maybe this is just more of a personal story for you, but how much have you seen, like, the more that you take care of your body, not just from, the EMF protection in your cases and whatever, but more in the health side, like, how much have you seen that help deter away the effects of the radiation that's coming on?
Oh yeah, huge, huge, huge. I mean, like, another little free tip here, something that's really good against EMS is magnesium. So
Really?
it's
I did not know that. That's very interesting. I'm glad I take it every day.
yeah, it's almost like it's not the cure, but it's like, you think about it, what happens when you microwave food? It gets dehydrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Magnesium is an electrolyte and helps, keep your cells robust and is very good, very, very good to help against EMS.
Oh, so
So
wait, are you saying the EMFs dehydrate you?
yeah, it like ages you and it just like depletes your cells over time.
Oh, okay.
It induces what's called like oxidative stress. Like if you ever notice, like the reason why we age is because like of oxidative stress, right? Like the cells decrease their strength over time and are not replicating the way that they should be, right? So EMFs induce that faster. So
Oh,
it's,
that makes perfect sense.
yeah,
Well, good thing I've learned recently that hot water alone does not hydrate you. You
it
have
does
to
not.
have salt or sodium or magnesium, other minerals that will help retain the water into your tissues. That's what I've learned.
Yeah,
And ever since I've been doing that, gosh, I've been doing that for probably last 4 to 6 months. It's changed everything. Seriously. I think clearer. I have more energy throughout the day. My lips aren't chapped like they used to be. Like I would get chapped lips probably like once or twice every week. It was horrible. And now that's gone because I add salt to my water just so I can make essentially Gatorade. And it's absolutely incredible. So I that makes so much more sense though. Like, cause
I
I'm
really
just kind of like looking back though, like if I were around my phone before like I got the case or anything like that, I would definitely feel more thirsty. I would feel even tired. I would feel like, oh my gosh, I just feel like so low in energy after being on the phone all day.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Man, this is why I wanted you to come on my podcast, man. Come on.
Yeah, man. It's just like it's so cool because it's like, wow, you start to, you start to pay attention to things. Like I remember when I first started working out, like everybody's like, yeah, you're more sore on the second day. I'm like, nah, I don't know about that. Like I'm pretty sore on the first day, and I'm like, wow, you actually are like pretty sore on the second day too. Like you start connecting the dots, and so it's like it just helps me connect the dots. I'm like, wow, when I am on my phone, there is an element of like, parents always talk about limiting their kids' screen time. your addiction to social media and your screen time is important, but the nature and how the technology is used is also very important as well. And you'll just notice like it just is like, wow, like there's so many more things that I didn't know. And you think about like we're chemical electrical beings. When you
Yes.
take in chemicals like food, your body decomposes that and it turns it into energy. Like
Yes.
health is also very much about light and energy than it is more about food and nutrition.
I agree. I agree.
So it's like another way to say EMFs is light waves. Light is within the spectrum. It's all a different type of light, right? Some of it's visible, some of it's not. Like, like you can only, visible light is this much out of the whole spectrum, but it's all light waves. It's all photons. It's all electromagnetic fields.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there's got to be a way, right? There's got to be a way to maybe redirect this energy, right? Because God knew this. God created these things. How do we use these light waves or frequencies to help us?
Yeah.
There's got to be a way. And I've heard of devices, and I don't know everything about this, but I've heard of devices that will pinpoint the frequency of a disease and then use whatever. I don't know how they do it, but it'll destroy the disease by changing something within the frequency or whatever, and it just goes away. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, that's crazy. That's very interesting.
Yeah. That's like the health of the future.
I agree. I agree.
That's like, I think it's William Rife or something like that. There's somebody like Rife. It's like a Rife machine or something like that that helps do that. And that's, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day of, in the United States, there's only 2 legal ways to say you treat cancer. So I think it's chemo and radiation therapy. And not the good type of radiation either. They'll like radiate, kill you to kill the cancer. It's like not good at all. But like there was even this health company in the US that was saying they were curing people of cancer, which they were. And then they actually got kicked out of the US or were going to face they had to shut down or face a lot of issues. So they actually moved to Mexico and stood up operations in Mexico. And a lot of like high-end, A-list people, celebrities and wealthy people go there now because it's illegal to say you treat cancer other than the regulated, profitable business model of the, health complex.
Big pharma. That's so fucked up, man. God.
That's
That's
crazy.
so messed up. But I mean, think of the biggest source of light, the sun, right? That actually heals us more. It heals us. It does not harm us. Like people say, oh, put your sunscreen on and everything like that. That does not do you good. You need sun. You need that to replenish your body. It gives you energy. Man, all the things that we've been taught, right, from a young age. And I say in the last, even in the last, it seems like in the last 3 years, there has been more information coming out about health than I've ever seen. And it's good news, right? Like it's natural, holistic ways to heal yourself. Like we should be going outside barefoot, on the ground, touching the grass, grounding ourselves. We should be outside getting as much sun. We should be outside, or we should be drinking water with salt, right? They always would tell us, don't get salt in your body. The more sodium, it's really bad for you. Come on, like this is a revolution of the truth. This is bringing truth to people that would never even thought about. And there's a good thing about social media and about the technology that we're even talking about right now. It's bringing information to people that would never even thought or heard about it 10 years ago, right? I think that's probably the most positive thing about this information, but they still want to try to censor it. They still want to try to censor it because they know deep down, if we control this information, we control the people.
Absolutely. And there's actually, I couldn't agree more, and there's a couple of things I want to say about that. The first thing is like the modern world and this modern health is changing. So you have to change with it. And we're now starting to get some data about it. Like sunlight, I think I saw something where less than 2% of your life you'll spend outside now. That's insane.
God, that's disgusting. Wow,
It's
I can't imagine. Dude, whenever I stay inside all day, whether it's snowing or whatever, I feel horrible. I feel like I
terrible.
have no energy at all.
Dude, it's a big deal. Like, and it's just like the world is changing. And so it's like we need to have modern solution to modern problems. And, it's just like, wow, like I feel like we want to go back to this ancient way. It's like this ancient,
Yeah.
and it's true. It's like we just need to revert back to nature, the ultimate design. And it's like, how can we live more harmonious and, authentically, ourselves in those areas? And so it's like just very important to me. It's like, just to give people the truth and just say like, hey, here's what I'm doing. If you want to use it, great. If not, at least some of the risks and some of the issues and how to protect yourself, because that's what it's ultimately about, is helping people and protecting people. It's like I can't control everything, but if I can, somewhat help people with my products or something else in the future, like that's great. That's super great. So that's kind of where I'm with it, El.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I'm the same way, right? That's why I do this podcast. That's why I share everything on my social media, just to bring truth. And it's up to you. It's up to you to grasp the nugget and do something with it. I'm just the messenger. I'm just here to
It,
bring it out. It's up to you. It's totally
yeah,
up to you. But man, this was a great conversation, man. I
yeah,
truly enjoyed this. I truly did. So, Jake, why don't you go ahead and let's see here. We've been going for, oh, I don't know, it doesn't say, probably about an hour and 10 or so right now. It's pretty awesome. But why don't you go ahead and give people information where to find you, find the information. Obviously, go ahead and plug your website again, because this is important. These products will help you.
yeah. It's backed by science, scientifically proven. I got a great guarantee, and all my Instagram, TikTok, website, it's all radenergy.io. And if you want to put this like in the meeting notes or something like that, I'll give, for your podcast, like a big discount. And, I'll put on there. So people would just know exactly what to go. It'll be like 20% off. You can just go in there, massive discount for me, because I don't discount that much. So that would be, because the shungite's rare, and, these, the silver fiber is expensive. So it's like, it just is hard to run a business with this high cost. So, but for you guys, love to hook it up, put it in there. But yeah, if you want to drop the link or, put it in the meeting notes or whatever, love to put it in there. But I'll make sure you get the right discount code.
That is awesome, man. I really appreciate that. I bet you my peeps will definitely enjoy that for sure. I've told so many people about my case, or, the case that I got
It's
from you,
nice,
man.
isn't it? It's soft and everything. Like, it's kind of nice, isn't it?
So
Mag.
I had your original one. I had the EMF protection one.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah.
people were always asking me about it.
Oh yeah,
And I told them, I was like, guys, there's a difference. Like, before I had the case, my hand would feel like it was catching on fire. No joke. And
yeah,
then when I put this case on, I don't feel that. I don't
yeah,
feel that at all. And the same thing with this. Like this thing, like it's hard to see, but there's the little black dusts in there. It makes a difference, man. It makes a
yeah.
big
That's the
difference.
shungite broken up.
Yeah, which is so cool. I was like, oh,
No
there it
doubt.
is. There we go. Um, but yeah, dude, that's awesome. That's really cool. I really appreciate you giving my listeners the opportunity to get that discount. That's really cool. So
Bro, I just appreciate you. Love you, man. Thank you for having me on. Just truly a blessing and an honor. If there's anything else, I can do to help, and other things you want to talk about, go over. I'm all ears. I just launched a new thing where I'm helping men quit pornography on my own personal Instagram. So,
that's right.
anything I can do. To help. So, I'm just here and love you, man.
I love you too, man. Well, you're coming to my men's conference and you're going to be running a workshop on that specific topic. So I told I told Gary, I told Hans, and everyone. They're pumped for that. They think
I
that's really.
love Hans, man. I'm excited to see him again.
I know he's a homie, man. He's just one of those dudes. You just have to hang out with them, right?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you think this has been helpful and this has been valuable to you, I want you guys to go ahead and share this with as many people as possible. Also, go ahead and subscribe to my show, The Chris Tubbs Show. And you guys can hit that notification button to get the notifications. And also, go ahead and support me by going to my new website, christubbs.com/merch. And if you sign up for my newsletter, you will get a discount as well. All righty, guys. Jake, thank you again, man. I really appreciate you, bro.
Dude, love you, man.
All righty. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen.